Hello and welcome to another episode of Solo Inter Podcast. We are just under 48 hours away for the season opener against Genoa, and the situation is still not finished at Inter regarding the transfers. I mean, we have Dumfries, we have signed Dzeko, we have signed Çalhanoğlu, Hakim is gone, Lukaku's gone, Perisic is leaving on a free next summer apparently, and don't know what to do of this. Like, what do you think of the new transfers, Parmeshwar?
Yeah, it's good to be back after quite some time, and I'm actually buzzing for the season opener. I know it's not been like the best transfer window for everyone. We've lost two of our best players, but still, the fact that it's the first game of the season. Simone Inzaghi is going to have his press conference tomorrow at 3:30 Italy time. I'm still buzzing, because it's the first game, and just before I give my thoughts, I read that apparently over 20,000 plus tickets have been sold for the first
Yeah.
match. The limit is at 39,000, but there are certain issues. It's a bit expensive. So, yes, there's still way to go, but it's a good sign, first step that 20,000 plus tickets have been sold. And yeah, to answer your question, Gautam, yes, the Mercato, it's not been convincing, right? Lukaku's obviously gone, Hakimi's gone, and, people obviously are furious. The fans are furious, but you know, it is what it is, unfortunately. We all know Marotta doesn't have the resources to work with exactly. We got Dzeko because he was, Dzeko is someone who wanted to come to Inter 2 years ago itself.
Yeah.
He's been linked with us like every window, like Lavezzi was back in the day. So I think this was finally the time he had to join Inter. So he, even renounced part of his bonus with AS Roma. Um, that was one thing. So, with Dzeko, I'm fine with him because as long as we sign one more attacker, obviously, he can't be the only striker going into the season for all three competitions. Because I know we all for a fact know that he's very underrated. I feel at times because he can actually create a lot of chances. He also has that hold up play. He's tall. He's good aerially. Maybe you can say that yes, now stamina wise it can be an issue regarding his age, but overall he doesn't incur those many injuries either. If you see his injury track record, so I'm fine with Dzeko as long as one more striker arrives, and of course we'll be touching upon that because there has been news developing. But with Dzeko, I'm fine with Dumfries. There was a point in the Mercato where we thought we'll probably have to settle for Bellerin, and we've ended up with Dumfries, of course, and I'm really happy about that. Um, with Dumfries, he's not the most technical player out there, but what I like about him and what I saw in the Euros too is that he's very hardworking, and you see the passion, you see how passionate he is about playing in it. First day he came, he made his own welcome video and posted it on Twitter. Like he was like, I'm taking over Intermedia House and everything. And it's not only that. I think he's very he reminds me a lot of D'Ambrosio. You must have seen D'Ambrosio make a lot of far post runs. He does that quite often. He's very physical and he's a good header he's good heading the ball as well. So I'm pretty satisfied with Dumfries coming in as well. With that being said, Gautam, as we have pointed out, we still need to add to a few areas, and for me, that has to be one more striker. Uh,
Okay.
if we somehow sign 9 days, that's a bonus. Yeah, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much for me.
Yeah, Manish, are you happy with the signings? I mean, we know Dumfries is not Hakimi. We can't expect what we expected from Hakimi, and Dzeko is no Lukaku. But are you happy with the signings? And among the people who have already been signed, who are you excited to see?
First of all, as an Inter fan, we can, whatever you, like you said, we cannot expect anything. Whatever we get is a bonus right now with the financial conditions. But so far, I think Marotta is doing a good job. It's like we have very limited budget. We have very limited resources. So it seems like around 150 million we got in cash. Out of that, we spent around 15 million for signings, which it seems to be a very good deal so far. So Gautam, if you check the team, it's basically think Inter as a cake basically. So the cherry is taken off, the cream is taken off. All is left is the cake now because Lukaku, Eriksen, we lost Hakimi. These three are the players, which takes Inter to the next level, who takes Inter to be the elite, one of the top clubs. If you remove these three, it's like pretty much an average team. So we're stuck with that. We lost Lukaku, yes, it's a very hard replacement. We lost Hakimi on the best wing backs, and Eriksen's experience will be missed in center of the park. But I'm glad the direction Marotta is taking. We signed Dumfries. It's a very good deal. I'm very happy with that. And Zako is a very experienced guy. Obviously, he's no Lukaku replacement, But Zeko, you saw that with his age, with his experience, with his plenty of Serie A experience, before he even signed for the club, he came in a friendly match and he scored a goal. I don't think any other striker can do that, because if any other striker comes in from other leagues, it takes a lot of time to adapt. But Zeko is a safe bet. It's a good backup option. But saying that, yes, we also linked with more players, and I'm happy the Mercato's not ending here. We need a couple more attackers, especially with Sanchez's injury. We need much more attackers, and I think good defensive cover is required at this point to
Yeah,
finish off the Mercato.
yeah, I mean, that's a good point you said about Sanchez as well and the striker. I mean, now it looks like Marcus Thuram is the guy who's going to come in. And there are chances like we might get in Insigne if Sanchez injury is deemed to be like really serious. Like, how do you feel? Like last year, it was like basically for Conte, we got the players he wanted. Like there was no like, I need this, but I'd be okay with this. But this season, it's always been we aim for someone and we compromise and get someone else. Do you feel like Marcus Thuram will be an exciting signing if he comes here?
If you ask me, yes, I think Marcus Thuram is a very exciting player. He's young. The dad obviously is a legend, Lilian Thuram, but he played for the wrong team in Italy. So I would consider him as a Parma legend, and then he went to Juventus. But he's definitely a very good player, and he's shining. He's also called up to the French national team. He's a young potential player, and I think the management can gift the fans by taking a player which has high potential rather than taking a finished product which is 30-plus-year-old striker. So I would obviously go ahead with Marcus Thuram, because Marcus Thuram is very young, he's dynamic, he has height, he has good pace, and that unpredictability is done in attack. And he can develop more as a center forward. Yes, he can do that. Insigne, if you ask me, I'm not a big fan of him, because Insigne's position is always as a three-man strike force. He plays on the left, and pretty much that's his main position. We don't play with that formation. If he comes to us, we have to use him as a second striker behind the front. And we saw in the Italy squad in the Euros, Insigne wasn't that effective. So plus we have players like Sensi, Sanchez, Insigne, all in the similar type of players. So Insigne for Napoli is good, yes, but for Inter, I don't think he can add much more value for us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Like Insigne is not suited for our formation, and this season shouldn't be the one where we take risk changing formation, because the team is so used to 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2, and this season just to adapt to Insigne, we shouldn't change the formation, is what I feel.
But you mentioned something of the coach, like if it's up to Simeone, he would definitely go for Korea, because Korea is his main guy, go-to guy. Yeah. It's not Insigne, it's not anybody. He wants Korea hands down. But the relationship with him and Lotito, that is where the problem comes for us, because he might sell to any other team except Inter. That's where we're having difficulties in negotiation.
Yeah, I mean, Parmeshwar, like, what do you make of this? Like, Marcus Thuram is not an out-and-out striker. Yes, he played like 7 games as a striker. He's not guaranteed goals. He's just tried out in that position, and looks like Simone Inzaghi wants to play him as a striker. And then we have Insigne, which we just told like he doesn't suit our formation. Would you want him in your team, or would you go for someone like Korea? But you know that we won't get him for cheap.
Yeah. So coming to Marcus Thuram first, like as you said, he's not an out-and-out striker. Like even when he played against us, he was on the left. But as I was discussing with Manish before the podcast, like he can pretty much adjust himself across the front line anywhere, like left, right. And one thing about Simone Inzaghi, Gautam, is that he's not Conte. Conte is fixated on this tall, short striker combination, but Simone Inzaghi likes versatility. He wouldn't really mind Marcus Thuram in that sense. I know, and exactly why he wants Korea, because Korea is not going to hold up the ball like Lukaku. We all know that. So, there's a reason why he prefers versatile players. And the thing with Marcus Thuram is he's a very intelligent player off the ball. His finishing can do a bit of work, but his movements for Mönchengladbach, and those are certain things that cause a lot of problems. He may not be overly creative as well, but I can see why he's being targeted by the club. And to answer your question, Gautam, Insigne, I know why you guys have your doubts. Like, he is better out wide, cutting in on his right foot, from the left. But again, how long can we tolerate Alexis Sanchez's injuries, man? Like, you saw what the Chilean FA said today. He's probably going to be out for a month or so. He's going to miss the World Cup qualifying matches. Who's going to play for us? Because we rely on Alexis' injury off the bench, right? Energy off the bench, right? So we need someone who can deliver like Alexis. And yes, Insigne may not be the most convincing name that way. We might have to alter tactically, but I think Simone Inzaghi thrives on altering tactically, I feel, more
Yeah,
than
but with Sanchez, is coming off the bench, and if we get
yeah,
Insigne, he's
yeah.
not a bench player. He will want to
He's
start.
not exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, coming to that, that's one downside of definitely of getting Insigne, that we'll have too many players who would want to start. Marcus Thuram is not going to get benched. Dzeko is the only one who's going to accept actually being benched. Lautaro won't, because he wants his new renewal too. And if you tell him that you're going to get more benched more often, he'll be like, I'm not signing it. Even if we have accelerated talks. So that's one downside with Insigne. That's why, as you said, Gautam, we need to still keep our options open. And as I was telling Manish before, that's one reason. Even though Cetriano is a young player, I still would keep him and not give up on him just yet. I would not loan him out just because I think he can be very crucial to our attack. Yeah, that's my take on how our attack should at least look like. Let's see what the management has in their bag. Let's see what they go with.
Yeah, and the thing you mentioned about Lautaro's renewal,
Hmm.
it's been going on for a while, and it looks like there
Hmm.
has been progression, and
Progress.
he's going to sign. But do you think this will play on his mind, because he wants to be the highest paid player in the team. He
Hmm.
wants
Hmm.
Lukaku's numbers, but even last
Yeah.
season, I think without penalty goals, he was just too shy of
Yeah.
Lukaku's goal.
Yeah. Hmm.
So obviously, the numbers say that he deserves it. But
Yeah.
do you feel that would play on his mind, or do you think he can cope with the pressure of being the main man in the team? Because Lukaku was
Yeah.
way more mature and way more clinical,
Yeah.
and last
Yeah.
season the main complaint, at least I had, was Lautaro isn't clinical. He doesn't finish his
Hmm.
chances. Do you
Hmm.
think he can step up to the pressure this year?
Yeah. And to begin with, your complaint is justified, because we remember versus Shakhtar, he missed an open goal, and that was so costly in the Champions League. And I think if you watch one of his interviews before, he said that he's been seeing a therapist and everything to cope with this mental pressure. And because we know that now he has to take more responsibility more than ever. Because Lukaku is gone now, he is actually one of the leaders in the team. His agent, I know he's a bit dicey, but he keeps on saying Lautaro actually wants to stay in the club, and I know he wants like 8 million. But Gotham, I still believe he kind of deserves a better pay, because the salary he earns currently is just 0.2 million more than what Pinamonti earns. He definitely deserves better. And as you said, he scored a lot of non-penalty goals, Lautaro. So
Yeah.
that's credit to him. So he is growing, and if you ask me, I think the management should offer him like the current offer, 6 million plus some bonuses to sort it out, because I really feel it is important to tie him down. We can't lose both our main strikers in the same window. It'll be an absolute shambles if we do that. And yeah, Lautaro, I feel, is the future if we manage to hang on to him. Barring Suning doing a U-turn and then selling him next summer and everything. But yeah, I think Gotham, he, in my opinion, just to cap off, he clearly deserves the raise. Like, he's done a lot already.
Yeah. Manish, coming to you, do you also feel that Lautaro can step up to the pressure? And there's also talks of Barella's renewal, plus the
Right.
chances of Perisic leaving on a free next summer. Now, coming to that, I want to ask you, do you think it would have been better if we sold Perisic this year instead of losing him for a free? Because we are strapped for cash. Why would you let him go for a free next year then? You could have sold him for at least like 5 to 10 million now and got in a replacement.
Right. So to begin with the Lautaro's thing, Lautaro Martinez, he's the next face of Inter. The club realized that between Lukaku and Lautaro, I think Lautaro is just 23. Lukaku is coming to it's crucial phase, like he's going to reach 29, and then his value reduces by half, or if not. So now seemed to be the best time to sell Lukaku. And also Lukaku was the favorite of Conte, and he was very much part of the Conte's formation as the centerpiece. If you check his chessboard, he was the main centerpiece. So everything evolved around Lukaku. And Lautaro, a couple of times you would have felt left out, because the relationship between Conte and Lukaku is like a father and son relationship. And there were times you could see Lautaro sulking, in the bench, and he was taken off at halftime. So you always wanted the attack, for the attention which Lukaku is among the fans. Lukaku was favored among the coach. Lukaku was favored. Also in the media, everybody talks about Lukaku. But right now, with Lukaku gone, automatically all attention come on Lautaro. And right now, Lautaro will be the face of the franchise going forward. Also in the national team, he did really well with the Copa, but again, Messi got all the attention. So both the places in the club level, he seemed, the media seemed off him. But right now, I think his agent also said right now he wants to stay at Inter because he wants to prove a point and to show in the world, like, yes, Lautaro is still young and it's good. And yes, he deserves a contract. Obviously not 8 million. His agent has hiked up because they know Inter's under severe pressure because Tottenham's interested, Man City's interested. So right now it seemed a big bargaining chip for the agent to hike up his salary. So yeah, but I would say around 5 to 6 million is well deserved, and he should be part of the club. And talking about, you mentioned about Perisic. Perisic, the thing is, right now, Gotham, everybody's on sale. Everybody, if you check, except for one or two key players, I think everybody's on sale. But nobody's ready to invest and get Perisic because they know in a year it'll be a free transfer. And second thing, Perisic's salary is around 5 million. So why would he want to break his contract and leave? So if any offer comes from Germany, I'm sure Inter will be like, yes, please have Perisic. So same thing with Arturo Vidal, same thing with Alexis Sanchez. The wages are very high. Not many clubs will be interested at this point. And Pinaponti, we're struggling to offload him because of his wages. So yeah, that is one factor. And I think next season we will see a lot of players, a lot of veteran players leave on a free, Gotham.
Yeah. And coming to the preseason, Parmeshwar, like, how do you feel the preseason went? Last year we didn't have a preseason at all. This year we had it. Dzeko has already scored, and Sergio has been impressive. I mean, for me personally, I think he's ready for Serie A. Like you said, I think he should be kept. He should be used as a impact sub, and I think there was rumors that he might start the first game. Never know, but I feel like the match he is going to start, he's going to score. It's not like a situation with Pinamonti where you want him to grow, but Satriano looks so ready that he's going to score in the first game. Like, what is your thoughts on the preseason?
I see. First of all, I know people will complain we didn't play any big teams, this that but let's remember that we were going to go play the Florida Cup in the US. The Arsenal camp was hit with COVID, and then we didn't take a chance. And I think that was fair. And even with that, a lot of our players came into good shape into the training camp. You look at Chalanolu's his shape in the in one of those preseason games versus Crotone, he was in really good condition. You look at Di Marco, he's reported in top condition. Even Dzeko looked in good condition the other day. So it's like you don't really have to play the big games because you see we already have a lot of injuries. You don't want to risk it, right? And I think our preseason has been pretty decent. I think we've not overdone it. We have not done it like we've not played less games. We've not played too many. I think the balance is fine. And to coming to Cetriano, Gotham, like I really want us to keep him. But as Pedula is reporting, he may be loaned to Crotone if Marcus Thuram is gotten. And I am not really convinced about it because I feel Alexis factor is a big question mark, over there. But as you said, I feel he's ready to play in the Serie A. Pinamonti isn't, we clearly see that week in, week out, even when Conte gave him chances, what was he doing? So I think to your point, Gautam, I would keep Cetriano, and I think even in preseason, he's proven it that he deserves to stay
here. Yeah, and coming to the match now, Parmeshwar, sticking with you, how do you think Genoa will test us now that we've spoken about the preseason wherein we did play big teams? How do you feel like Genoa will test us in the first game?
Yeah. So I was reading about them, and the fact that they've actually had a pretty decent preseason. They haven't played a lot like us, but they had a Coppa Italia match to play as well, which they won 3-2 in a frantic match. And they have one of our players, of course, Zeno Van Huysden, youngster, who we bought back, centre back. So he will be starting versus us as per Gazzetta dello Sport. And they are a pretty impressive side, actually. They lost one of their main strikers, Shomurodov, to Roma, but they've actually managed to cope well because Destro apparently looks in really good condition in preseason. They've signed Hernani from Parma, who was actually Parma's top goal scorer last season, midfielder. So that's one more area we need to be careful of. They've signed Salvatore Sirigu to be their main keeper, although he's not in his prime years. He's doing a fine job in preseason at least. And they were actually going to play PSG in preseason, but that match got cancelled due to COVID. And I think they are going to, from what I saw, they're going to be shaping in a 3-5-2. So pretty much sort of going to mirror us, and I don't think it's going to be an easy game because they have some experienced players in there like Domenico Criscito, few years ago, like decade ago almost, he was supposed to be the next big thing in the Serie A. And they have this new striker called Ekuban, who's again tall, and apparently he's a really good goal scorer. So if he's apparently a good match for Skriniar Devray because of his physique. So let's see. I'm not expecting an easy game. I remember last season we thrashed them at the Miazza. You remember that Lukaku goal immediately he scored. But I don't think it's going to be that easy this time. Ballardini is a pretty decent coach, and from what I've read and what few videos I managed to watch, they looked in really good condition. So maybe, yes, it'll be a challenge. We'll probably win the match, but it's not going to be like straightforward like last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, Manish, how do you think like Inter will respond? And with the fans coming into the day, it won't be a full stadium, at least 25,000 will be there. How do you think Inter will respond to the new coach, the new team? At least we have kept the backline intact with Bastoni, Skriniar, and Devray. So the backline should be fine with Handanovic there. That's also like a factor. But how do you feel the match will go for Inter with the new coach, new formation?
First of all, I think like every season, we're all excited. But now I think after a decade, we're going to see the interplay with the Italian shield on, the Scudetto badge. That itself is so exciting. And I think this is one of the best jerseys for the longest time, the snake pattern. So watching live in action is going to be really cool. And yeah, with the fans, with the new coach, there's always enthusiasm. So, and we know Simone Inzaghi is a very passionate guy, like Conte, but obviously not that vocal. But you can see in the friendly match also, I think he was non-stop. He was standing in the touchline, screaming instructions. He's also like quite proactive guy like Conte. So that is good to see. And yeah, with Genoa, it's, apparently I just saw the highlights of the last season's match, Inter versus Genoa. Like Paramisha pointed out, Lukaku scored. I think everything involved Lukaku. I think with the first minute, Lukaku scored. Then Lukaku gave an assist to Darmian, who side-footed it. And again, Lukaku shot, which parried away, and Sanchez scored. So it was quite heartbreaking to watch because the team was built around Lukaku. But now it's going to be exciting because we don't know where's going to be the main focal point. There's no Hakimi now. There's no Eriksen to the middle, and there's no Lukaku. So it's exciting to watch. And we know for a fact that he likes midfield a lot. So it's going to be pretty much, I think, a 3-6-1 formation with Sensi starting behind Zeko. So yeah, that's going to be good. We're going to have more possession and fans behind us. I think we should not fear anybody. We should go for it all. And also, I think mentioning Genoa, I think the players which they have, it seems good. They signed Sirigu, is Italy's number 2 in the tournament. And they have Goran Pandev, not to mention, and Destro is there, Behrami. The midfield, I'm more worried about the midfield because they have Stefan Storaro, who's very good. Rovella, the guy who signed with Juventus, I think he's extended his loan. Next season, he'll go to Juventus, a big signing. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting match. Let's hope and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, Parmeshwar, the way Manish said, like, I agree with him. Like with Simone Inzaghi, it's like it's no longer going to be wings. The midfielders are going to be more involved.
Yeah.
Definitely. How do you feel it's going to be for Inter? Do you think like Barella and Çalhanoğlu will have much more role to play this season, wherein they move into the box way more often than last time?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think we've highlighted this multiple times that Simone Inzaghi thrives on his midfield. He's developed SMS the way he has for a reason. SMS was over the years, if you see his progression from a deep line playmaker more to a box to box, he's been phenomenal. And I think there is a reason why Simone Inzaghi loves Matthias Vecino too, because we know Vecino is capable of scoring goals. Of course we know his downside as well, but he can score a goal. He did so in preseason too. So I think he's going to use Vecino a lot apart from Hakan and Barella. And we all know Barella can score long ranges. We all know that. And Hakan, if he is on his day, he can be useful in set pieces and at his long range deliveries too. So absolutely, Gautam, the midfield is going to be vital. And not only these three, we need to bear in mind Stefano Sensi. He's had a good preseason. There are reports as per Gazzetta dello Sport that in our 3-5-1-1, he's going to be the one playing behind Dzeko, and Hakan will slightly be deeper. That's as per Gazzetta though. Let's see. But yeah, Sensi is going to be important.
That's pretty much the formation.
Yeah. And I think Gautam, it's everybody has to chip in now that I think pretty much every Interista knows this now that Lukaku's goals have pretty much gone. We need everyone to step up in terms of contribution of goals. Not only our wing backs, but it has to come mainly now from midfield and especially Lautaro up front. So yeah, the midfield has a very crucial role to play.
Yeah, and if we are going with the formation of 3-5-1-1,
Yeah,
and we are still looking for strike, if you're playing just Dzeko up front, that
yeah,
means Lautaro is on the bench. He won't be playing behind.
yeah,
Sensi will be playing behind.
yeah.
So, do you think then other striker is way more necessary when we have Satriano and Lautaro, and it always won't be 3-4. Do you think this 3-4, 3-5-1-1 is just for Genoa to counter their thing, or do you think that will be the preferred formation this time?
Yeah, the 3-5-1-1 I think is mainly because also Lautaro is suspended for the first game. Let's not forget, and he's injured. And the only backup options right now we have are Cetriano, who's just returned to group training from injury, and we know we can't rely on Pinamonti. So I think it's more of a one-off thing. And yes, we will see it here and there in the season, but I think the 3-5-2 will be the primary focus. And we definitely need a striker, Gautam. I don't think there is a discussion about it. I think we really need one more striker, and then we are good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and sticking with you, Parmeshwar, how do you think Genoa will line up?
Yeah. So as per Gazzetta dello Sport, because they post their lineups pretty early, they say Sirigu is going to be in goal with our Zeno Van Oysden at right centre back, Beraski at centre back, and Chris Cheeto, as I mentioned, their captain at left centre back. Sabelli, who they signed from Empoli, apparently was very important in Empoli's Serie B title win, so he's going to be the right wing back. Sturaro, as Manish said, in the centre with Badel and Hernani. As I said, he was Parma's top scorer last season, so he's going to cause us some problems in midfield. Like he's going to take shots from outside the box as well. And then they will have Ekuban, Destro, and this youngster called Cambiaso at left wing back. So as I said, pretty much they are going to, give us some problems than they did last season. They are going to come and try to at least take a point, in my opinion. So let's see how it goes, Gautam. I think that's how they should line up in a 3-5-2. Yeah.
Okay. Manish, coming to Inter, would you like to see Dumfries start, or do you think the great Darmian will bench everyone again?
No, so that's one very risky point. Why? Because under Conti, all the substandard players, they perform very well. Candreva, those type players. I'm really worried that now because those type players won't step up this season for us. So yeah, the wing back we might struggle. Darmian most probably is going to start, but Dumfries will take his time because again it's a new league, it's a new season, it's new language. Dumfries has played the system in his Holland national team, so that's one positive thing. But yes, I think he might come later on in the second half. But pretty much, I feel Darmian and Perisic is going to start. Yes, that's what I feel. And Hakan Çalhanoğlu, for me, I think is going to be a player to watch because I think a lot of people are confused why Hakan is starting a little behind position rather not with Zeko. One, because Hakan is known for his long range shots and he gets a lot of space if he starts a bit behind. So Sensi is the one with his link up play. I think is going to be very good with Zeko. And Zeko, you saw his complete different style of play in the friendly match. He came all the way across the midfield to come and collect the ball. So it's going to be a new Inter, exciting to watch. Yes. So I would personally prefer, if you ask me, Dumfries to take some more time to then rather than start from the first minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So your starting 11 for Inter would be what?
What I feel pretty much it's the same 3-5-1-1 formation to start. I think Darmian and Perisic on the wings, and the midfield is pretty much Barella, Brozovic, and Hakan, and Sensi and Zeko. And the back three is for stable for the longest time. And yes, second half, definitely I want to see Di Marco and Dumfries because Dumfries is very good in his head. And one thing is Di Marco is very good in giving early crosses. That's one very good thing. And so if he can cross and Dumfries can connect to it, it'll be definitely a point of attack from now on. Because we saw also last time, I think, Perisic is pretty much a one-trick pony. He just does that step over and he tries crossing with his left. But with Di Marco, we have a complete different, two opposing style of play. So that is going to be exciting for Simeone to choose. And he can choose now based on the opposition which player to come.
Yeah. Parmeshwar, coming to you, like, would you
Yeah.
prefer Dumfries and Dimarco to start, or would you go with Perisic and Darmian itself?
Yeah, so Manish made a pretty interesting point that, Dumfries has just gotten into group training. So maybe he may not start, but I want him to start. And the reason being this is because, Genoa's left wing back tomorrow is a youngster, Cambiaso, and he's not really played first team minutes that much. He's only played 2 preseason games so far. Dumfries, yes, he may not be that great defensively 1v1 at times, but something he's good at is with his physique and using it to his advantage to attack straight on. And he makes those late runs like D'Ambrosio. So I think he should start. We can take that gamble. And Perisic and Dimarco either flank, it becomes too conservative in my opinion. Because as Manish said, Perisic is sort of a one-trick pony. He doesn't cross that much that often. And Darmian isn't as fast, right? So I think one wing back needs to have that pace. And I would actually take the gamble of playing Dumfries. And then Dimarco can come off the bench later. And the rest of the starting 11, just to add, I think would be Handanovic. Of course, the defense remains Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni. Left wing back, as I said, Perisic, Hakan in the midfield with Brozovic, Barella. For me, Dumfries should be the right wing back. Sensi up front, so up ahead of them, and then Dzeko up front in a 3-5-1.
Okay. And coming to the score predictions, staying with you, Parmeshwar, what do you think
Yeah.
will be the scoreline, the first match of the season?
Yeah. So, basing my thoughts on preseason, we have looked solid in defense overall. Once Skriniar and everyone came back, I think it's going to be a 2-0 win. We'll be made to work for it, but I think we'll win 2-0. Maybe I don't like predicting, but I'll just say for the fun of it that maybe Dzeko will score and maybe even Sensi will score. Let's see. That's my thoughts at least.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like it's going to be 2-0. We'll start off slow because it's the first match of the
Yeah.
season. And then we'll
Yeah.
grow into the game. Maybe one goal in the first half, one goal in the second half, and easy 2-0 win. Manish, what do you think will be the scoreline?
It's never easy with Inter, especially with the fans back in. Now we should see what will be the club anthem. Is going to be Pazza Inter? Is going to be the old one? We have to see that. So I'm going for a bold prediction. I think Genoa will score first, but we will definitely come back.
Wow.
It's going to be a 4-2 win for us. It's
Wow.
going to be tricky. First match of the season. Like I think last season we had a Fiorentina game, which was crazy. So we can never take anything for granted. So I'm going with a 4-2 win for Inter and much later win. It'll be 3-2 and towards maybe last 3 or 4 minutes, the old Pazza Inter comes and Simeone Inzaghi runs to the touchline to hug his players for me.
Okay. Okay. One last thing, Manish, with you first.
Yeah.
Expectations for the season. Where do you think Inter will finish?
That is very tricky because till now we haven't got the main replacement for Lukaku. Once we get that, I feel out of this 4 players who we linked with Korea, Marcus Thuram, Weghorst, and who's the 4th player we linked with? Weghorst. And who's the 4th player we linked with?
This
Insigne,
guy,
I think.
Insigne, yeah.
Insigne, yeah.
Zapata, now that is out. I think we should
Yeah,
get 2
Zapata is
out of
out.
these 4. We have to
Wow.
get 2 players at least because Sanchez, for me, it's a finished case because this guy is too injury prone. And Sanchez, most of his link-up play was with Hakimi and Lukaku. Now both of them there, I don't know how will Sanchez perform. He cannot start a match. So for me, I think they should cut Sanchez's contract, let him loose, and get 2 of these players, Marcus Thuram and the Holland striker. I'm not getting his pronunciation right. I think Weghorst, yeah.
Weghorst.
Yes, he's 197 centimeter. He's good in the air, good in both feet. He takes penalties too. So I would think if these 2 comes, then yes, definitely top 3. I don't think we're going to win Scudetto. But top 3 would be definitely good this season.
Yeah. Parmeshwar, to you quickly, what do you think? What is your expectation for the season?
Yeah, so my thoughts echo Manish's. Like, we need a striker, and because of Sanchez, I think we need one more. Weghorst is a really good player. I would like him with Thuram, but let's see how that develops. To quickly answer your question, some people are writing us off and saying we'll finish 7th, even as low as that, and I don't think we are that bad. Come on, this is not the banter era days. I hope that doesn't happen, but yeah, we are not that bad. Come on, I think we'll make top 4, Gotham. Title is not easy. I think Juventus are favorites for the Scudetto, but yeah, top 4 definitely. Top 3, I don't know, but top 4 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. For me personally, I mean, this is very bold, but I'm thinking top 2 with Juventus being the favorite just because of Allegri, not because of their team.
Yeah.
Because Allegri is back, I think Juventus are the favorites with him back, and I think we will give them a run for their money. The team has gelled. I mean, they have played together. Few new faces, experienced players, young players. I think we will finish in the top 2.
Also, Gautam,
And
just
got
before you
them.
end it quickly, just wanted to add, I know Conte is gone, but I still feel that the effects of his team, what he
Yeah.
left behind, will linger and play a role. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
And I want
Manish,
to know,
go ahead.
Gautam, out of the 4 strikers, who are you thinking we should get?
I mean, I would prefer Vagos just because of his physicality. We need someone like that. And Insignia, I don't think we should go for at all. Zapata, if it happens, but looks like it's gone. So
Gone.
I
Pretty
would
much dead.
prefer Vagos coming in, but looks
And
like
Marcus
Thuram
Thuram and Korea? What about these 2 guys?
Thuram and Korea, I think it's a. I would prefer Korea because he has played with Inzaghi before, and Thuram is
Yeah.
something for the future. And we have seen
Hmm.
what happens with prospects at Inter. They like half the time they don't work out at all. And we got Gabigol, the prospect, and we know all what happened with him. So I
That
don't
is
want. Yeah.
correct. But the thing with Korea, what I'm scared is like whenever we got players, attractive attacking players from Lazio, we always struggle. Like Kita Balde, he didn't perform for us. We got Mauro Zarate, he didn't perform for us. I think Felipe Anderson, who was very good at, obviously didn't join us even to West Ham. Again, he flopped. So these attacking players, for a reason, perform only well at Lazio. When they leave the club, I don't know. So I'm very subjective on Korea's part. But yeah, that's my take on Korea.
So on that note, that's the episode of Solo Inter Podcast. If you're new here, do like, subscribe, hit the notification icon, and also leave a comment. What do you think will be the season for us? Where do you think we'll finish, and who do you like to see as a striker for us? Till next time, Forza Inter.
Forza Inter,
Forza
guys.
Inter.